Hello friends, today we will see the graphical analysis of a truss. So there are different methods of analysis of truss, namely method of joints, method of sections. So these are the commonly used methods of truss analysis. So today we will be going for graphical analysis of truss. Now this is typically useful when you are analyzing this truss to find out member forces. Now, in graphical analysis, first you should know how to represent a force graphically. So, before we start graphical analysis of truss, one should know how to represent a force graphically. Suppose there is one force having 10 kilonewton magnitude and direction, say it's making 15 degrees angle with the horizontal. So in that case, being a vector quantity, force requires both magnitude as well as direction for its complete definition. It requires magnitude as well as direction. So magnitude is 10 kilonewton, direction it's making 15 degree. So one more thing you require in case of graphical analysis, you require Bose notation. Now these letters A and B, these are Bose notations for this particular force. Now Bose notations are to be introduced on either side of force or completely define that particular force. One more thing you will require, you will have to select a particular scale for completely defining this force graphically. Suppose I select a scale 1 centimeter on paper represents 10 kilonewton. So this is going to be my scale. Now to represent this 10 kilonewton force graphically, what I will be doing? So I will have to select a point. Then I will be measuring a 15-degree angle from horizontal, and then I will draw a line measuring 1 centimeter. So this distance has to be 1 centimeter. Then this particular line segment, this gives me force A to B. So this is force A to B having direction 15 degree and magnitude as 10 kilonewton. So how it is 10 kilonewton? The distance measured on paper, it has to be 1 centimeter. If this distance measured is 1 centimeter, my scale is 1 centimeter equal to 10 kilonewton, then this was notation A to B. This is a force AB, what we have to represent. So this force A to B, I can represent graphically this way. So first thing, you have to introduce Bose notation on either side of force. Then you have to select a particular scale. For representation of that force, you should know the direction. So here, starting point A, along the line 15 degree, I draw a line segment of 1 centimeter to represent this force A to B. Now coming to truss analysis, let's say we have to analyze this particular truss here. So this is the truss what we need to analyze. Let's say it is subjected to different panel point loads. So at the end panel point, there is always half the load of that is applied at intermediate panel point. Now here end panel points are EL0 and EL6. These two are end panel points whereas the remaining all joints are intermediate panel points. So at intermediate panel points, there will be unit load assumed, and at end panel point there will be half unit. As per truss analysis assumptions, the load is acting always at panel points only. Load will not be acting at any other point. It will be always acting at panel point only. So according to any truss analysis procedure, so once you apply the loading, then immediately you have to calculate support reaction. You will have to calculate support reaction. Now here at L0 and L6 there is support provided, and as it is a symmetrically loaded truss, total load divided by 2, that will be the reaction at L0 and L6. So total load acting here 5 plus 1 6. So there will be 3 kilonewton reaction developed at each support. The reaction developed at each support is of 3 kilonewton. Now these are the all external loads and internal reaction developed at support. Now we have to analyze this truss graphically. Now for graphical representation as discussed just now, you will require to introduce Bose notation first. Then you have to go for selection of this particular scale. So here first we will start with introducing Bose notation, starting with this end panel point. Let's say Bose notation here is A. So A to B is this point load zero point 0.5 kilonewton, then B to C 1 kilonewton, C to D again 1 kilonewton, D to E, then E to F, F to G, and G to H. Now for support reaction at L6, again there has to be two Bose notation. One is H, another will be I. Now this I will work as Bose notation for this reaction at L0 as well. So we can denote it as reaction at L0. This will be reaction at L6. So this A is Bose notation for this 0.5 kilonewton load as well as for this particular support reaction at L0. For reaction at L0, there are two Bose notation A and I. Similarly, for RL6, there are two Bose notation I and H. Now, this is how we have introduced Bose notations for external load and support reaction. Now, as we have to analyze the roof truss here, it means we have to calculate internal member forces developed in various members, say L0 U1, L0 L1, L1 U2, L2 L3, U3 L3. So these are the unknown forces what we have to calculate. Now to calculate these forces, again you have to go for graphical representation of these forces. Now to represent these forces graphically, you will have to again introduce Bose notations for these forces. So let use numbers as a Bose notation for these members. So for L0 U1 already B is there 1, and this second Bose notation for L0 U1 will be 1. For L0 L1 member force, one is first Bose notation, second is I. Now for all these members L1, L2, L2, L3, L3, L4, L4, L5 and L5, L6. This I is the common Bose notation. Then for this member U1, L1, 1 and 2, these are two Bose notation. For L1, U2, 2 and 3. For U2, L2, 3 and 4. L2, U3, 4 and 5. L3, U3, 5 and 6. Then 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now this is how you have to introduce Bose notations for entire members. So initially we have introduced Bose notation for external forces and reaction. Later on we introduce Bose notation in the form of number for internal member forces. So this is how first you have introduced all Bose notation. Now later on, now you have to go for analysis. So first you will be plotting all the external forces here. Now as discussed earlier, to represent a force graphically, you should know both magnitude as well as direction. Now here we have all the magnitudes known to us. So first we will start with plotting known forces, and from known forces we will find out unknown member forces here. That is what the graphical analysis is all about. So here first I will start with this support, this external load at end panel point, that is 0.5 kilonewton. For that Bose notation are A to B. If I start with this point here, what I need to select a scale first. So my scale will be 1 centimeter equal to 1 kilonewton. So this is going to be my scale for the analysis, right? So this is going to be my scale. Now what I will do, I will start with a particular point. Then I have to mark this force. I know the magnitude. So I have to convert this magnitude as per my scale. So 1 centimeter equal to 1 kilonewton. Then zero point 0.5 kilonewton will be 0.5 centimeter. So accordingly, I will be moving in that way. And the direction is all the forces. Now if you see, those all are making 90-degree with the horizontal. Only difference is that external load is acting vertically downward, whereas support reactions are going vertically upward. So only that much is the change. Remaining things means the direction is altogether vertically, and that is it's making 90-degree angle with the horizontal. So we'll start plotting the line for that particular force, that is which are acting externally. So first we will be starting with 0.5 kilonewton, first force A to B. Then we have to mark B to C, which is 1 centimeter. Then C to D is again 1 centimeter. Then D to E is again 1 centimeter. Then E to F is again 1 centimeter. F to G again 1 centimeter. And G to H, it's half centimeter only. So I will mark half centimeter line. So this is all about external forces. So starting with A to B, this is making 90-degree with horizontal. So if I draw a line which is making 90-degree with horizontal and it's going downward, so this will be the force shown here. So A to B, then B to C, this is the point, then C to D, then D to E, then E to F, then F to G, and G to H. Right? Now we have to mark the support reaction. Support reaction H to I. It's vertically upward. So all the external loads, they were moving vertically downward, whereas this is vertically upward. So from H point you have to move in upward direction to mark that force. Now what is its magnitude? 3 kilonewton, means 3 centimeter. So H to G, it's half plus 1, G to F, it's 1, 2, 2.5. Somewhere at mid of this, that is 0.5, that I point will be located. So this is how you have to plot all external forces. I hope you are following me. So here we have finished plotting of known forces. Now from known forces, now I have to find out unknown forces. Now unknown forces means I have to find out L0 U1, L0 L1, then U1 L1, all the member forces we have to find out. Let's start with this L0 U1. Now to define this particular force, we need both magnitude as well as direction. But here we don't know magnitude. But what we know? We know the direction. So we'll mark one line matching that particular direction. So there are two options left with you. Either you will plot all these things in AutoCAD, that drafting software, or you can use graphs for this. So for marking this force B to 1, Bose notations are for L0 U1 are B and 1. Out of B and 1, B is already marked. So I can draw a line parallel to this B1 or L0 U1 starting from B. I don't know the second point because I don't know the magnitude. Because magnitude will be, if it is known, so then I can get another point 1. But here I have to analyze that thing only. I have to find out that member force only. So that's why what I will do, I will first draw a line B to 1 unknowingly. I don't know this 1, but I know the direction. So that's why either you have to measure this angle with horizontal, then with horizontal you measure this angle here, or else what you can do, you make parallel line to this provided you have plotted this truss to the scale, or else you can draw it in AutoCAD wherein perfection will be there, error chances will be reduced. So here I have taken this angle equal to this angle, whatever is angle here. So same angle I have taken. I have taken parallel line to this L0 U1. So I am drawing the line starting from B. I don't know where that second point is going to be. So I have just plotted blindly. I don't know where that second point is. I have just drawn this line parallel to that one. So it will be starting with B, but I don't know the end point. I don't know the end point of this particular line. Right. So now next point is what? For if there are two known points, from two known points reference point to the reference point, I can locate third unknown point. So for one, there is another reference Bose notation for L0, L1, that is I. I have marked already this I point. I have B located, I have I located. With this known two location, I have to mark 1. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. With two known reference points, I can mark the third one. Now, if I plot a line parallel to I21, which is horizontal, so if I plot that line, so wherever these two lines meet each other, that is nothing but the point 1. So wherever these two lines intersect each other, so yes. So this intersection point is nothing but 1, that unknown point 1. So the point of intersection is nothing but that unknown point 1. Now here, if I measure these distances I to 1, what it will be? It will be the member force L0, L1, because for in graphical representation, the distance represents magnitude and direction, or the angle made by that particular line represents the direction. So here member force L0, L1 will be equal to distance I to 1. Similarly, member force L0, U1 will be the distance B to 1. So two member forces we have plot. Next, we have to go for 1 to 2. Now 1 to 2, it's a vertical line. So I don't know 2, but I know 1 point. Now point 1 is located already. So what I will do, I will make line parallel to that, or 90-degree with the horizontal. So I will draw one line. I will draw one line parallel to that. I don't know where that point number 2 is, but I know 1 is located. Now for 2, another reference is what? C, which is located. No doubt 3 is also another reference, but 3 is not located yet. The located point is 1 and C. So second reference is C. So once again, I will make line parallel to that U1, U2. U1, U2 I will make that line parallel to U1, U2, and then plot this line from C, because the reference point is C, U1, U2 is the member. So direction will be similar to U1, U2. Either you measure this angle with horizontal, which will be similar to the angle made by L0, U1. So I will draw a line parallel to that. Now wherever these two lines are cutting, friends, now this is my point number 2. So this intersection point is nothing but point 2, right? Now I have to go for third member force, that is L1, U2. L1, U2 I have to find out. Now what are Bose notations for that? 2 and 3. 2 we have located. Now to locate 3, I have to draw this line parallel to L1, U2. The for 3, another reference is 4 and I. Now out of these two, which is located? Yes, this I is located, 4 is not located. So what I will do, I will make this line parallel to 2 3, or else what you can do, you can measure that angle physically. So whatever is suitable for you, that can be done. And you have to make this line parallel here, and you have to simply draw a line passing through 2. Now, what is another reference point we just identified? It's I. So from I to 3, whatever line you are drawing, it's the same one, horizontal one. Now, wherever this line is matching, cutting or intersecting with this line, that point is nothing but 3. So this intersection point is nothing but it's 3. Right? Then 3 to 4, it's a vertical. 3 to 4 is vertical line. So you have to draw a vertical line passing through that point number 3. We have second reference point that we need to decide. So first we will draw a line, vertical line passing through that 3. Now for 3 to 4, what is the reference point for 4? What is another reference point for 4? Yes, there is 5 and D. So we are developing the member force U2, U3. We are calculating that one. For that, both notations are D and 4. 4 is located, second is D. So again, you have to make line parallel to that U2, U3, and then you can pass that line from D. So parallel to this, passing through D. Now wherever it cuts the line coming from 3, that is going to be your point number 4. That is going to be the point number 4. So this line started from 3. So it wherever it has intersected with line from D, that is nothing but your point number 4. That is nothing but the point number 4. Then next we have to locate 4 to 5, or we will locate member force L2 U3. We will be locating member force L2 U3. So for that you have to draw 4 to 5. Now for 5, another reference is what? 6. So it's not located. 6 is not located. What is located? I is located. I is located. So 5 to I, that will be another reference point. For locating 5, so we have two reference, one is 4, another is I. So first we will start with 4. So we will draw a line parallel to this L2 U3. So L2 U3, parallel to that we will draw a line. So wherever it intersects with the line from I, wherever it intersects the line from I, that is going to be point number 5. So this is that intersection point, and it's going to be 5. Now next is 5 to 6. The second reference is again I. So there is vertical line. So there has to be vertical line, and the second reference is I. So 5 and 6, these 2 points are going to be coinciding. These 2 points are going to coincide. Now coincide means what? So if you see the distance between 5 and 6 here, it's 0. Distance between 5 and 6 is 0. Means what? Magnitude of this force is 0. Magnitude is 0. Means what? It's a zero force member. It's a zero force member. So you can analytically check that. Now if you apply summation Fy equal to 0 to this member force L3 U3 at joint L3. I will just draw a joint FBD here for you. So this is member force along L3 U3. This is member force along L3 L2, and this is member force along L3 L4. If you apply summation Fy equal to 0 here, this particular member force becomes 0, and same value you have got here because 5 and 6 is coincide. So this is how you have to find out member forces. Now if you have to find out member forces here, so you will have to measure these distances 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, then D to 4, C to 2, then A to 1. So if you measure all these distances according to this Bose notation diagram, then you will be getting unknown member forces. So let us list down the member forces which needs to be calculated and what you are supposed to do to get that value. So let us start with member force L0 U1. Member force L0 U1. Now to get the value of member force L0 U1, what are the Bose notations? B1. So distance to be measured. So distance to be measured. Here I will write force, then its magnitude, how you will get its magnitude. So you have to measure distance. Which distance? For L0 U1 it's B2 1. Then member force U1 U2. Member force U1 U2. For that Bose notations are C and 2, so you have to measure C2 distance. Then U2 U3. U2 U3. Now for that D and 4, so you have to measure distance D to 4. Now next L0 L1. L0 L1. Now for that L0 L1, Bose notations are 1 and I. So you have to measure distance between I and 1. Then next L1 L2. So for that you have to measure L3 I. Sorry, I and 3. So you have to measure distance between I and 3. Next L2 L3. So here you have to measure distance between I and 5. So this is how you are getting the member forces. Then U1 L1. U1 L1. Now for U1 L1, 1 to 2 distance you have to measure. Then for L1 U2, L1 U2, you have to measure 2 to 3. Next U2 L2, you have to measure 3, 4. Then L2 U3, L2 U3. For L2 U3, you have to measure distance between 4 and 5. So if you measure these distances and convert to scale, so our scale is what? 1 centimeter equal to 1 kilonewton. So whatever distance you are getting, suppose you are getting 6 centimeter as distance, the magnitude will be 6 kilonewton. You are getting say 4.5.2 centimeter as a distance somewhere, so the magnitude therein will be 5.2 kilonewton. Hope you are following, friends. So this is how you could uh, find out the magnitudes of unknown member forces in truss. Now the remaining is what? You have to identify nature. Yes, the nature of member forces is highly essential. Then only you can say that you have completely analyzed the truss. Now we will see how we can find out the nature. Now to get the nature of forces, dear friends, what you are supposed to do, you have to select a particular joint. Let's say I am selecting joint L1. So for L1, whatever Bose notations are there, you are supposed to list down those Bose notations in a clockwise sense. In a clockwise sense. Remember, you have to list down all Bose notations at a particular joint in clockwise sense. Let's say for L1, I will start with 1, then 2, then 3, then I, and finally again 1. So in the same sequence, dear friends, you have to move in this vector diagram. So I will start moving in that direction. Let's say first I have to move 1 to 2. So my 1 is here, 2 is here. So the direction will be like this. So the direction will be downward. This is the direction. So same, you have to take arrow direction at this location as well. So this is the direction of arrow here. Next 2 to 3. So 2 is here, 3 is here. So mark this arrow. Now same arrow direction you are supposed to mark here as well. Then 3 to I. 3 is here. I is towards the right. So this has to be the direction of arrow. So same arrow direction you are supposed to reproduce here. Finally I to 1. I is here. 1 is in left direction. So this is the arrow direction. So you are supposed to mark same arrow direction here. Right? Now for counterpart, same will be the nature of arrow direction for this member and for this member, for this member, right? So here you have got the nature. So we'll solve one more joint. Let's say U1. We'll go for U1 here. Again, we have to write down in clockwise sense, starting with say B, then C, then 2, then 1, then B. So B, C, 2, 1, B. Now B to C is external force. We need not to bother about that. Then C to 2. So here is my C. 2 is in downward direction. So this is going to be the arrow direction. I will take it as it is. And I will put it here. Then 2 to 1, it's upward. 2 to 1. So we have already marked that. Then 1 to B. 1 is here. B is towards right. Going away here. 1 to B. Now same nature will be replicated for all the members. Same nature will be replicated for all the members. Now if you observe here, we have analyzed only half part of truss. As this is symmetrical truss, you need not to completely analyze it. So half part if it is done, so remaining will be as it is. It's not going to change. The half part will be exactly similar to the left half. The right half or right hand values will be similar to this one. What nature you can see here? Now wherever you are getting this nature means member force away from the joint. So this indicates tension. This indicates tension. And wherever the member force is pushing the joint, this indicates compression. This indicates compression. So this again to 1 to 2 it's compression, then 2 to 3 it's tension. So means in short, what we can say here, now all the bottom chord members which is commonly known as main tie members, so bottom chord members or main tie members, so these are always in tension. So these are in tension, right? So these all bottom chord members, if you see, it's a tension in nature. Then this principal rafter or top chord member, principal rafter, so it is subjected to which type of nature? It's subjected to compression. Then the vertical members here are the vertical members are subjected to compression. These are nothing but strut. So this is applicable for this type of configuration only, friends. Don't get confused with vertical and incline. So many times student make mistake that vertical member is compression member or strut and inclined member is tension member or sling. It's nothing like that. So as and when there is change in configuration, there will be change in nature of forces as well. So whichever member is carrying compression, internal member, friends, internal member subjected to compression is referred as strut. Now in this particular truss, the struts are vertically placed. Now the members, internal members again, which are subjected to tension, those are termed as sling. And in this particular configuration, inclined members are slings. So friends, this is how you are expected to analyze the truss graphically. Hope you are following me. So if you see this, it's clearly understood from this how to find out magnitude. So for finding out magnitude, you have to find out distances between Bose notations in vector diagram, and to find out the nature of forces, you have to select a particular joint. You have to list down all the Bose notations in clockwise manner for that particular joint, and then you have to move that way in vector diagram, and same arrows are to be marked in the truss to get the nature of forces. The arrows pushing the joint, compression, arrows moving away from the joint, tension. Hope you have understood this particular analysis, dear friends. If you have any queries, you can comment in the comment portion. Next session or in next video, I will come up with wind analysis graphically, how to analyze the truss for wind load. So this is typically gravity loads. So gravity loads, the practical example for that is dead load and live load. So when you are analyzing the truss for dead load and live load, you are expected to follow this methodology. In next lecture, in next video, I will come up with the graphical analysis for wind loads. Till then, enjoy the learning. Thank you very much.